So the last class, we were discussing about the mesh analysis, right? With both independent as well as dependent voltage sources, as well as we have also seen how to analyze a circuit using mesh analysis if there is a current source, right? And I have given you both the practice problems as well as the assignments. Have you all tried it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any difficulty? Did you face any difficulty in analyzing it?
Yes, ma'am. Can you do a little recap of what we did last, like before 5 days, holidays?
Uh, like, do you want a recap or
No,
do you
just
want the discussion on the mesh analysis?
uh,
I mean, the discussion on those
mesh
problems,
analysis.
ma'am, those assignment problems.
Ma'am,
The
this will be
assignment
the third,
problems, right?
third
Yeah,
mesh.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so what we will do is maybe in the regular class we will not discuss that because we have a very tight time constraint. So today I will do the nodal analysis and the discussion on the assignment numericals. Can we take it on this Saturday? Maybe
Ma'am,
I
not
require
just the
half an hour.
assignment problems, ma'am. I meant like the subject, like the theory of node mesh analysis, like just a recap of it.
Okay, yeah, I can give the recap, but I'm asking about the assignment problems also. Like if you want to discuss the numericals or the solution for the assignment problem, can we take it on this Saturday? Maybe I need around half an hour to 45 minutes to discuss that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so maybe we will do one thing. This Saturday, I have to just check my schedule also. I think up to 9:30 I have a presentation. Okay, maybe we will do one thing. We will fix it around 10 o'clock. 10 to 10:30 or 10 to 10:45 we will have the discussion on the solution to the assignment problems as well as any difficulty you had in any of the practice problems we will discuss on this Saturday. Okay, so 10 to 10:45 we will fix the time. So if any other teachers are fixing it, please inform them, okay, that we will be having the circuit theory assignment discussion, okay. Okay, so now a quick recap of the previous class. So coming to the mesh analysis part, okay. So normally we know that in mesh analysis we will be using the KVL equation. So it is important that we should know what is the voltage across each of the elements in the circuit. Only then we can write the KVL equation, and normally KVL equation we write it in a closed loop. Okay, we write it for a closed circuit or for a closed loop. Now, if there are only voltage sources, then writing a KVL equation is straightforward. By fixing the currents, we can easily write the KVL equation. Okay, but the challenge comes when we have a current source, because we will not know what is the voltage across the current source unless they explicitly mention. Okay, so in that case, we have to consider it in a different way. So, coming to this mesh analysis with current sources, there are two possible cases. One is that the current source can exist in only one mesh, or it can be common to two meshes. Okay. So now if it is common to only one mesh, then obtaining the solution is quite simpler, because for this circuit which is given here, we can see that this 5 ampere current is present only in one mesh. Okay. It is part of only one closed circuit or only one mesh. Okay. So in this case, you can see that based on the analysis, I2 is the loop current and 5 ampere is the branch current. And if you just see here, both the currents are flowing in the opposite direction. So directly we can write I2 is equal to minus 5 ampere. Okay. And we have to write one more equation to find I1. Okay. So if the current source is existing in only one mesh, then actually the number of equations get reduced, because one of the loop currents we can directly take from this current source. Okay, and we have to pay attention to the direction, in which directions they are flowing. If they are flowing in the opposite direction, we have to take negative of that. But if they are flowing in the same direction, you can take the positive value of the current. Okay, so this is the first case. And second case is when the current source is existing between two meshes. Okay.
Ma'am,
Huh.
sometimes if there is only one source as current source, also we take the whole equation.
Can you repeat?
Means like we will write 3I2 minus 5 plus 5 into I1 minus I2, like that.
Huh. Like, are you telling about the current source present in a single mesh or in two meshes?
The previous example.
Okay, previous example. Okay,
Yeah,
so here, so here for the 6 ohm resistor, which is common between two meshes, the current flowing through that will be the difference between the currents. Only there we will write minus 6 into I1 minus I2, as what we can see from this equation.
Means like we don't need to write the whole equation for second loop, no? For I2.
We cannot write, no, that is the problem, because we do not know what is the voltage across this 5 ampere. Actually, when we are doing mesh analysis, we have to write the voltage across each of the element. For 6 ohm and 3 ohm, since we know the resistance and the currents, we can easily write the voltage across each of them. But coming to this 5 ampere, we will not know what is the voltage source, right? We do not know what is the voltage across this 5 ampere. So we cannot write a KVL equation for the second loop. However, we know that the loop current flowing in the second loop is I2, and from this circuit, if you just analyze, this I2 flows through this 3 ohm as well as this 5 ampere. Okay, so from that we can infer that I2 is nothing but minus 5 ampere. Right?
Ma'am, but you told that we cannot write equation 1, but we can write, ma'am, 3I2 minus
We cannot
5.
write a KVL equation. We cannot write a KVL equation for the second loop.
Oh, is it necessary as a voltage source for KVL, ma'am?
Yeah, that is the basics of KVL, no? Or we have to write the voltage across each and every element. There need not be a voltage source, but there should be, even if there is a resistance, we should know the current. So if you know the current, say for example, if the current is I, then the product of the resistance and the current will give the voltage. But what if there is a current source? We do not know what is the voltage across the current source.
Oh, yes, got it.
Okay. It's not necessary that there should be a voltage source, but if there is a resistance also, we can write KVL. But in that case, we will be knowing the current. But if we have a current source alone, we do not know what is the voltage across this, and hence we cannot write the KVL for the second loop. One element we do not know what is the voltage. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now coming to the case 2, where we have a current source between two meshes. Okay, here we are having a current source between two meshes. Again, the same problem comes. If you are trying to write the KVL equation for the first loop, there are totally four elements in the first loop, right? So here, when we come to the 6 ampere, we will not know what is the voltage across that. Okay. The same way, when you consider the second loop also, we will not know what is the voltage across this 6 ampere. So it means that the KVL equation becomes incomplete, and with that we cannot solve the circuit. So in that case, we will follow a method called as creating a super mesh, where the super mesh is created by excluding the current source and any elements connected in series with it. Okay. If there is a current source, we have to remove that current source along with the elements connected in series with it. If there is no element connected in series with it, then we have to remove only the current source. Okay, the statement is very clear. By excluding the current source and any elements connected in series. If there is no element, you need not worry. You have to remove only the current source. Okay, so that we call it as the super mesh. And how do we create that? Is by removing the branch which has the current source. So what happens by removing this particular branch? we will get a circuit, closed circuit. So this circuit is called as a super mesh. Okay, and here we can see there are two currents within the super mesh, and by following the direction of the current, we can write the voltage across each and every element, and thereby we can write the KVL equation for this particular circuit. However, there are two variables I1 and I2, so the single equation will not help us in solving this I1 and I2. We have to write one more equation, and what we will do is, for the branch which we removed, we will be writing a KCL equation. Okay. So if you consider this part of the circuit, which actually initially we removed, so there at this junction or the node, we can write the KCL equation. Okay, so by this we will get one more equation, and these two equations will help us in solving I1 and I2.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Is it necessary that voltage should be there in one of the mesh, ma'am, in this case?
At least in one mesh it has to be there. No, otherwise there is. But there is no compulsory. No. It's not compulsory. Just a minute. Yeah, it's not compulsory because already there is a 6 ampere current. Even if this 20 volt is not there, still the circuit is valid.
Ma'am, means like if there are, if there is not 20 means we have to take super mesh or not, no?
See, try to understand the fundamental. For mesh analysis, you require KVL equation. So for KVL equation, you should know what is the voltage across each and every element. So if there is a voltage source, you already know the voltage. So why do you bother about that?
Yes, ma'am. In case there are 3 loops and only the first loop has the voltage source and the current is between second and third, means can we take super mesh, ma'am?
In that case, between second and third, you have to create a super mesh.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So the problem comes whenever there is a current source, because we will not know what is the voltage across the current source. So we have to remove the current source and any elements connected in series to that, and without that create a super mesh and then analyze the circuit. That is the first step. Second thing is, with one equation we cannot solve, so we require one more equation. So in the circuit, if you just see the node where the branches are all connected together, at that particular node you apply a KCL equation. So we will be getting two equations, and that will be sufficient for us to solve the circuit. Okay, so this is a concept of mesh analysis with current sources. So please practice the problems because unless you practice, you will not get an idea. Okay, so the solutions for both the assignment problems and the practice problems, we will take it up on this coming Saturday at 10 to 10:45. Okay. So even if you're making a mistake in the circuit, that is fine when you're writing an equation. Still, if you have doubts, we can discuss. But do not just try to see the circuit and try to solve it. Okay, so please practice by writing the equation. So unless you write the equation, you will not have the practice of understanding what the concept is. Okay. So with this, we are just completing the recap of this mesh analysis. So today we will start with the nodal analysis part. Okay, so now coming to this nodal analysis. So the basic nodal analysis you would have already learned both in your previous semester as well as, especially in your last semester, you would have learned about this nodal analysis. So here we will be discussing it with the dependent current sources also. Okay. So in the case of nodal analysis, the main equation is the KCL equation. So we will be using the KCL equation in the nodal analysis, and we will see how to solve it using both the independent as well as dependent current sources. So maybe in the last semester you would have learned with the independent current sources. In our discussion, we will be considering the dependent current sources also. Okay. So normally how do we do the nodal analysis is that we have to fix the nodal voltages. So if you just see this particular circuit, there are actually 3 nodes. Okay. The nodes can be numbered as 1, 2 and 3. And normally for nodal analysis, we always take one node as a reference node. Okay, and the remaining as a non-reference node. So in this case, V1 and V2 are non-reference nodes, whereas the node which is present below, which is connected to the ground, is taken as a reference node. Okay, so totally there are 3 nodes in this particular circuit. And if you just see the bottommost point, it is connected to the ground. So the potential at that particular point will be 0. Okay. So it means that we have to find the other two nodal voltages V1 and V2. And at these two nodes, 1 and 2, if we write a KCL equation, then we will be able to solve the two nodal voltages V1 and V2. Okay. So in the case of mesh analysis, we call it as the loop currents. And here we call them as nodal voltages. The variables what we are going to solve, we call it as nodal voltages. Okay, so here we have V1 and V2 as the nodal voltages. So now okay, so these are the steps to determine the nodal voltages. So here if you just see this particular circuit at the first node, okay, at the first node, you can see that I1 is entering. Okay, I1 is a current source. It is entering this particular node 1 and I2 is leaving. Okay, so these are the two current sources which are already present. Now for solving this V1, what we have to do is we have to fix the remaining branch currents. Okay, so that is the first step in the nodal analysis. So for the remaining branches, we have to fix the currents. So again, fixing the current is again random. It need not be as given in the diagram. You can fix it in your own way. But provided that for a single branch, there should be only single current. Do not keep two currents for the same branch. Okay, because you know that in a branch there can be only a single current flowing. Okay, so for this particular circuit, they have fixed the branch current as I1. For the second branch it is I2, and for the third branch it is I3. Okay, so totally there are 5 branches. In that, in 2 branches already there is a current source, and for the remaining 3 branches we are fixing the currents as I1, I2 and I3. Now coming to this node 1, you see which currents are entering and which currents are leaving. So as per KCL, current entering is equal to current leaving. So I1 is entering, so that is equal to the leaving currents. So what are the leaving currents? I2 plus capital I2 plus small I2 plus I1. So these are the 3 leaving currents. That is a KCL at the node 1. Okay. Similarly, if you consider the second node, okay, the second node, I can see that capital I2 and small I2 are entering this second node, and I3 current is leaving the second node. So there, if you write the KCL equation, we will be getting I2 plus small I2 is equal to I3. Okay. Now, actually, we have to find what is V1 and V2. Okay, so what we will be doing is we have to express the currents small I1, I2, I3 in terms of the nodal voltages V1 and V2. Okay, so for the current sources capital I1 and capital I2, the values will be directly given in the numerical, so it will not be a problem. But for the other currents I1, I2, I3, we have to express them in terms of the nodal voltages. So how do we express them is, so this is a fundamental formula. So the current in a particular branch is given by, the current flowing through a particular resistance is given by the difference between the voltages divided by the resistance. Okay. So this can be taken as the current will be normally flowing from a higher to a lower potential. So the difference in the potential divided by R will give us the current I. Okay. So now for this particular circuit, you can see that if you say take the first equation. Okay, so take the first equation. We have I1 is equal to I2, where capital I are the currents. So directly we can keep them as such. Now coming to the small I1, okay, coming to this I1, you can see that I1 is a current flowing through this R1 resistor. Okay, so from where to where it is flowing? So it is flowing from V1 potential to the ground. So we can write it as V1 minus 0 divided by the resistance R1. Okay, so I1 is given by V1 minus 0 divided by R1. And what is the second current? Small I2. So from where to where it is flowing? I2 is flowing from V1 to V2. So we will be writing V1 minus V2 divided by R2. Okay. So for the previous term, instead of writing as V1 minus 0, directly we can write it as V1 by R1. But basically it represents, it is V1 minus 0 divided by R1. And for the last term, it is V1 minus V2 divided by R2. So this is for the first. Okay, so this is for the first equation. The same way we can repeat for the second equation. So here for the second equation, I2 plus Small I2 is again V1 minus V2 by R2, and the last term is V2 divided by R3. So now, okay, so for the second equation, I2 is equal to, I2 plus V1 minus V2 by R2 is equal to V2 by R3. Okay, so that is the second equation. So now if you see these two equations, the only unknowns are V1 and V2, because now for a given circuit, they will be giving us the value of R1, R2, R3, and they will give the value of the current sources also. So the only unknowns will be the nodal voltages V1 and V2. So by solving these two equations, we can find the unknown nodal voltages. Okay. So this is the step we will be following for the nodal analysis with both independent as well as dependent current source. So the same concept is applicable even when we have a dependent current source. Okay. Are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we will move on to the numerical. So you can take down this question. So take down this numerical. You have to calculate the nodal voltages in the circuit. Actually, for the mesh analysis, just a note. For the mesh analysis, actually, I have given you 4 practice numericals, but I didn't ask you to copy directly when you were in the class. Instead, I have uploaded the PDF copy of the class notes in the Microsoft Teams, and I asked you to take the questions from there. Okay. So students who, I don't know whether if you have listened to that. So students who have not copied the practice problems, please copy the practice problems from the PDF document which is already uploaded in the Teams, okay, for the mesh analysis part.
Ma'am, solutions for those problems, no?
Solutions I will give you first. Maybe by today or tomorrow I will upload the solutions.
Yes.
Okay, but for assignment problem, already the final solution is there. For only for the numericals which you have doubts, we will discuss in the class. Okay, the complete solution will not be given for the assignment part. So those things you have to try by yourself. But if you have any doubts in writing any of the equations, we will help you. Okay. Okay, so coming to this circuit. So first we have to analyze how many nodes are there, and we have to keep one node as a reference node. Okay. So here there are, how many nodes are there here?
3, ma'am.
Yes, there are 3 nodes. Okay. So the top 2 nodes we can number it as 1 and 2, and the bottom node we can take it as a common node or a reference node, and that will be normally at 0 potential. Okay, so we have V1, V2, and the last node I have not explicitly mentioned here, but we can assume that that is at a ground potential. Okay, so if you want, we can mark it there. Otherwise, we can go with assumption that that will be connected to ground, and the potential at that point will be 0. Okay. Now, after we fix this nodal voltages V1 and V2, what we have to do is we have to just keep a view of the circuit. So here we can see that there are 2 current sources. One is a 1 ampere and the other is a 4 ampere current. And for the remaining 3 branches, we have to fix the direction of current. Okay. And again, I told you fixing the direction of current is random. The students can do by themselves. So here the direction which I have chosen is for the 2 ohm resistor, the current is flowing down For the 6 ohm, it is flowing in this direction, and for the 7 ohm, it is flowing in this direction. Okay. So it is not mandatory that you have to fix the same direction. You can fix the opposite directions also. Accordingly, the equations will change. That's it. Okay. But whatever directions we fix, the final solutions should not change. Okay, because initially we really do not know whether the current is flowing from top to bottom or from bottom to top. So since the things are unknown, we can fix the direction and then analyze the circuit. And depending on the final solution, we can conclude that whether the fixed direction is correct or not. Okay. But once you fix, you have to keep it as such. Don't change in between the nodal analysis. Okay. Each time when you write this equation, don't keep on changing. Once you fix, it is fixed forever unless you complete analyzing the circuit. So now we have fixed the current direction. So now we have to write the nodal equation at this first node and second node. So coming to the first node, how many branches are connected to this first node? How many branches are connected to the first node?
3 branches.
Yes, there are 3 branches. So we have to take into consideration the 3 branch currents. Okay. So now if you just analyze the first node, we can see that 1 ampere current is flowing into this node. Okay. It is entering the node, whereas the other 2 currents are leaving the node. Okay. To the node 1 ampere is entering and the other 2 currents are leaving. So current entering is equal to current leaving. So what will be the equation? 1 ampere is entering and the other 2 currents are leaving. So for the current which is flowing through this 2 ohm, what is the current? It is V1 minus 0 divided by 2. And for the other 6 ohm resistor, the current will be V1 minus V2 divided by 6. So these 2 currents are leaving and that is equal to the entering current, which is 1 ampere. Okay, so that we will take it as equation number 1. Okay. So always it is the difference between potential divided by the resistance value, and the direction we have to go with the direction of the arrow mark, which we have already fixed. Okay. So here for the for this particular current flowing through the 2 ohm resistor, the direction is downwards. So it means that as per the fixed direction, the voltage difference should be V1 minus 0. Okay. Similarly, for the 6 ohm resistor, the current direction is this way. Okay. So it means that it is flowing from V1 to V2. So the difference in potential should be V1 minus V2 divided by 6. So here if you interchange, the complete answer will go wrong. Okay. So what you have to do is fix the direction of the arrow. Once you fix the direction of arrow, from the bottom part of the arrow to the tip of the arrow, you have to consider the direction. Okay. So it should be V1 minus V2 divided by 6. So we got the first equation for the first node. The same way we have to repeat for the second node. So what will be the nodal equation for the second node? So the one current is entering and 2 currents are leaving, right? So what is the nodal equation for the second node?
V1 minus V2 by 6 equals to V2 by 7 plus 4.
Very good. Okay. So the one current is entering and the other 2 currents are leaving. So for the entering current, it is V1 minus V2 divided by 6. That is equal to the leaving currents. So the leaving currents are V2 divided by 7 plus 4 ampere. Okay. So now you can just take the common denominator and you can simplify this. Even the first equation, you can just take the common denominator and simplify, so that it is easy when you use the calculator for finding the values V1 and V2. Yes.
We don't need to find, V2 minus V1 by 6. No?
See, once you fix the direction of current, you cannot change that, right? As per the direction of current, it is flowing from V1 to V2. So you cannot write it as V2 minus V1.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So once you fix it, whether you are writing the nodal equation for the first node or whether you are writing for the second node, this direction you should not change. Okay, so each time if you change, the answers will go wrong. So first step in nodal analysis is fix the direction of current, and then you will start writing the nodal equation. So for the first node, when we were writing, actually this particular current was leaving the first node. Whereas when we were writing the nodal equation for the second node, it is entering. Okay, so conceptually it is correct. Current leaving a node should automatically enter the other node. Okay, so now since the direction is already fixed, for the second node, the current is only entering, it is not leaving. So you cannot write it as V2 minus V1 by 6. Then it means that it goes wrong. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought in the mesh, and I thought that I'm like we write I2 minus V1 like that mesh.
No, don't take the mesh part here. Mesh analysis is entirely different, right?
Oh, yes, got it.
Yeah. So for the nodal analysis, we require the branch currents. For mesh analysis, we will be writing the KVL for the complete circuit or for the complete mesh. Okay. Okay. So if you solve V1 and V2, we will be getting the nodal voltages. So what is the value for V1 and V2? We have to solve equation number 2 and 4.
2 and 14. 2 and 14.
Minus 2 volts.
Okay, V1 is minus 2 volt and V2 is minus 14 volt. Are you getting?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so here it is straightforward because we had only a independent source. Okay, but we need not worry even if there is a dependent source. The same concept applies. Only thing we have to write the dependent current and find on what variable the current is depending on. Okay, so I hope it is clear. We will move on to the next one. Okay, so here again I am emphasizing the first thing is that you fix the direction of current. Once you fix it, thereafter do not change. Whether you are writing for the first node or for the second node, once you fix it, keep it as such. Okay, and always current entering a given node is equal to current leaving the node. Okay, so we will move on to the next numerical. We will see a numerical with the dependent current source. So here we are having two current sources. One is an independent current and other is a dependent current. Okay. It is a current dependent current source. It is dependent on this Ix which is flowing in this 4 ohm resistor. Okay, have you copied the question? Okay, so here for this numerical, how many nodes are there?
4, ma'am.
3, ma'am.
4.
4, ma'am.
There are 4
Four nodes,
nodes. Yeah, there are 4 nodes and one node can be taken as a common node. Okay, so first is fix the nodal voltages. Okay, so here we have 1 on the top. There are 3 on the top, this point here, and the third one. Okay, so which we can mark it as V1, V2, V3, and the bottommost node we can take it as a reference. Okay, which will be normally at ground potential. Okay, so now once we fix the nodal voltages, we have to fix the direction of current in the branches. Okay, so if there is already a current source, we need not worry about that. Okay, for that particular branch, that entire branch will have the same current. But for branches which does not have any branch currents, we will mark the direction of branch current. Okay, so here for the 3 ohm current is flowing this way, for the 2 ohm again current is flowing this way. And coming to this Ix, already Ix is mentioned, so again we need not fix one more current. And to the 6 ohm, we will fix the current as flowing downwards. Okay, so ensure that all the branches are having one current. Okay, so if there's a current source, do not fix it. And if there is a current direction which is already given, that also do not change, because for this circuit, this Ix current is important because the dependent current source is depending on this Ix value. Okay, so only if Ix is flowing down, this particular current will be 4Ix. So do not keep one more current here. So let it be Ix. So now there are 3 nodal voltages. So we require at least 3 equations to solve V1, V2, V3. So we will start one by one. So coming to the first node, what will be the nodal equation for the first node? 10 ampere is entering and the other 2 branch currents are leaving. Okay. So first determine how many branches are there. There are 3 branches connected to this node. So there should be 3 terms, 3 current terms. Okay. So 10 ampere is entering and the current through the 2 ohm as well as 3 ohm are leaving that particular node V1. So current entering should be equal to current leaving. So directly we can write 10 ampere is equal to, for the 3 ohm it is V1 minus V2 by 3, and the current flowing through the 2 ohm is, it is flowing from V1 to V3. So it is V1 minus V3 divided by 2. Okay, so that is the first equation. Are you able to understand? So for the node 1, 10 ampere is entering and there are 2 leaving currents. So the current through 3 ohm is V1 minus V2 divided by 3 and the other current is V1 minus V3 by 2. So that is the first equation. Now coming to the second node, what will be the equation? How many currents are entering here? There are 2 currents entering, right? As per the arrow mark,
Yes,
2
ma'am.
currents are entering and 1 current is leaving. So how do we write the equation? Before that, maybe this equation, the first equation, you can just take the common denominator and try to remove the denominator term so that it is easy when we solve it. Okay, so this is the first equation. Now, for writing the second equation, actually we have to write it in terms of the nodal voltages V1, V2, V3. Okay. However, we are having this Ix. Okay. So from this circuit, we can understand this. Ix is the current flowing through this 4 ohm, and the voltage across this 4 ohm is nothing but V2, right? So V2 is the voltage across this 4 ohm. So based on the basic Ohm's law relation, we can write Ix is equal to V2 divided by 4. Okay. The potential across 4 ohm is V2 and the current flowing is Ix. So Ix is equal to V2 divided by 4. Now we will write the nodal equation at the second node. So V1 minus V2 divided by 3 is the entering current and 4Ix is also the entering current. So that is equal to the leaving current Ix. Now we have to simplify the equation. So already we have found Ix in terms of the nodal voltage V2. So replace Ix with V2 and again simplify this equation. Okay, so replace Ix with V2 by 4 and taking the common denominator term, this can be written as okay, so concepts are very simple. We are simply writing the KCL equation at each of the nodes. Okay, so current entering should be equal to the current leaving. If you are having any dependent variable, then try to express them in terms of the nodal voltages. Okay, so this is the second equation, and we have to write one more equation at the third node. Okay, so what about the third node? There are there is one incoming current and two leaving currents. Okay, so the incoming current is V1 minus V3 by 2, and the two leaving currents are 4Ix and V3 by 6.
Ma'am, that IX is only for the 4 ohm. No?
Which one?
That IX is only for the 4 ohm. No?
Ix is flowing only through the 4 ohm, no? It is not a loop current, it is a branch current.
Ah,
Yeah. Okay, so for the third node, the current through the 2 ohm is entering. So it is V1 minus V3 by 2, and the remaining two currents are leaving. So 4Ix plus V3 by 6. Again, replace Ix with V2 by 4.
Ma'am, could you show one's previous slide, ma'am?
Yeah.
Ma'am, here instead of Ix, can we take V2 by 4?
That's what I told. No, Ix is V2 by 4. Here it is written, no? Ix is V2 by 4. Okay. Okay, so now the same thing here. Replace Ix with V2 by 4. So we'll be getting this equation. Again, take the common denominator and bring all the terms to one side. So we'll get the third equation. Now, three equations and three unknowns. We can solve 1, 2, and 3 to find what is V1, V2, and V3. Okay, so upon solving, what is the value for V1, V2, and V3?
Ma'am, V1 has 80 volts, ma'am.
Hmm.
V2 minus 64.
Hmm.
V3 156.
Yes, very good. Okay, so for the case of dependent source, we will be having one more equation, or we have to find the dependent value and then solve the circuit. Okay, so other things are the same as what we have done for the independent source. So this is a nodal analysis with both independent as well as dependent current sources. Okay. Okay, so now similar to the case of mesh analysis, when we have a current source, we have to apply both KVL and KCL. The same way in the nodal analysis also, if there is a voltage source, we have to do it in a slightly different way. Okay, so that we will see. Okay. So for the nodal analysis, we require KCL to be written. So we should know the branch currents. Okay. But if there is a voltage source, the challenge comes because we will not know what is the current through the voltage source. Okay. Unless somebody gives us the value explicitly. Okay. Otherwise, the current through the voltage source is unknown. So it means that that particular branch current we cannot determine, and KCL will, and we cannot write a proper KCL equation. So in such cases, we have to deal it in a slightly different way. Okay. So there are two cases under this nodal analysis with voltage sources. Okay. So the first case is when the voltage source is present between a non-reference node and a reference node. Okay. So here, as what we can see in this example, this 10 volt is present between a non-reference node and a reference node. So reference node is like a ground potential and the other non-reference node is V1. So now if you try to write a KCL equation at this node 1, actually we will not know what is this current. Okay. So we cannot write it directly. However, if you are having a voltage source, directly we can write V1 is equal to 10 volt. Okay, so how do we write V1 is equal to 10 volt? The meaning of V1 is it is a potential at this point with respect to ground. Okay, so the meaning of V1 is it is a potential at this node with respect to ground. Okay, so that is the meaning of V1. It is a voltage across this resistor or across this combination. Okay, so that is actually V1. And you can see that all these three elements are connected in parallel. So from this we can directly write V1 is equal to 10 volt. Okay. So if you have a voltage source which is present between a non-reference node and a reference node, directly the nodal voltage can be determined from the voltage source. Okay. So that is the first case. So this will actually give us the answer in a single step rather than writing KCL and then determining V1. Okay, so there is no need for writing a KCL if we are having a voltage source between a non-reference node and a reference node. That is the first case. Okay, and the second case comes when we have a voltage source between two non-reference nodes. Okay, so maybe I'll just show you the detailed explanation. We will take it up in the next class. Okay, so the second case is when we have a when we have a voltage source between two non-reference nodes. Okay, so here writing a KCL at node 2 as well as node 3 is challenging because we do not know what is the current through this voltage source. So in this case, we have to use a method called as forming a super node and then analyzing the circuit. Okay, so similar to the case of mesh analysis, when we have a current source, we use super mesh. Similarly, in the case of nodal analysis, if we have a voltage source between two nodes, then we have to form a super node and then analyze the circuit. Okay, so this analysis we will take it up in the next class. Okay, so there are two cases. So the first case is when the voltage source is present between a node and a ground. So where we can directly write the nodal voltage is equal to that particular voltage source. And second case is when it is present between two nodes. Okay, so in this case we have to apply super node and then solve the circuit. So this description we will take it up in the next class because I think it's already time. So so this coming Saturday we will discuss the solution for the assignment problem. Okay, so please